guys, this is Allison Prior, and remember I told you I had 10 ways to start a painting like a pro. Well, I promised that I was going to do a painting based on those that video that I did on 10 ways. So I thought this might be a good example. This is a painting that I did, and you can look at it as you can look at photographs or paintings. You can look at those steps, and then you can start your painting like the pros do, of course. So have a look at this painting that I did, and I'm going to show you. We'll go through the steps that I already mentioned, and then we're going to actually paint this again and go through those steps again, and that way you'll be able to see how the whole system works. So the first thing I said was the light and shadows. So when you're looking at a picture or a photograph or a painting or anything at all, look for the light and the shadows. So as you can see in this painting, the lights are there on the right, and so what you're looking at is where the sun is coming from. So if the sun is coming from the right, then the light will be on the right of the trees and the house. See that? That's how you figure out where your light is coming from. So you make sure you find out where your light is coming from, and then you'll be able to figure out your lights and your shadows. See? So you just find out where. And if you're doing your own painting, that's all you have to figure out first, is where, so you know where to put your lights and your shadows. So you see the light is on the front of the house. The lights are on in the window, so inside is going to be bright anyway. But so it's probably an evening. But you can see that where the sun is shining down on the path up on top more, and there's a little bit of light coming in through the fence there on top of there, and in the back a little bit, and on the hills. So that's how you get your painting to come to life and be really interesting to look at, because you want to make your paintings nice and interesting to look at for people to look at it. So that's one. That's your lights and your shadows and where your light is coming from. Now, don't have to necessarily be in this order. These are just pointers for you to what to look for when you're starting a painting, okay? So when you're starting a painting, look at your picture or whatever you're painting, and even if you're making it up out of your own head or you're looking at a picture you took yourself, then look for where you want to have a focal point or a center of interest. And as you can see here, your eye goes right to that cabin, doesn't it? Because the path leads up to the cabin, and the light in front of the house leads up, or cabin leads up to the cabin. So your eye goes directly to that cabin, and that is your focal point. And make sure that your focal point is, if you're going to go by the rule of thirds, which means that you don't put your cabin directly in the center of your painting. Now you can. I have a painting there. I put the cabin directly in center, but the biggest part of the cabin was more to the left. So you see the cabin is to the left. It can be to the left or to the right, but not dead set in the center. See, this is the cabin that I'm talking about. So as you can see, the bigger part of the cabin is not totally centered. Center would be here. So it's more over to, so the rule of thirds, if you're not sure what that is, it just means that you take. So here's how I'll explain the rule of thirds for you. It helps you place your focal point by not putting it directly in the center. So if you have a picture that you're following, just take a line. I'm only using chalk, so I'm not going to destroy my painting. Take a line in the center and a line coming down here. We can put two lines in here and a line over here. Okay, so as you can see, that cabin is now over there by the rule of thirds. All right, this two lines and two lines, but they're separated. It's one to the right and one to the left, so you can know where to place your objects. You're going to place one over here or down here in this corner, and these little corners there where the lines meet. So I could probably go into more explanation of that at a later video. Right now I just want to get you started on your painting. So hopefully that helped. So far we have the lights and shadows and the focal point and the composition, which we were just talking about, the rule of thirds, and where you're going to place everything. So you want to make sure that even if you're looking at a photograph, you can take tree. If you got two trees in one, say it's centered, you can take those two trees and move them to the left or to the right so that the center is more open and getting ready for a focal point, and make that tree, the trees, different sizes. So as we discussed the lights and darks, so we have our lights coming from the sun, but I don't know if I mentioned the shadows. So you know, you have to figure out then where your shadows are coming from. So if the light was coming in from the right and going on the right of your composition, then the shadows would be on the left, and the opposite if it was the opposite way. So whatever wherever the light is shining on, if it's from the right, the shadows are on the left. And if the light is coming in the left, the shadows will be on the right. So as you can see, there's some shadows down here because the sun is coming in this way. The shadows are on the left side there of that little bush there. So, and then if you had a bigger tree that you could see, the shadow will be going behind the tree, behind the house. That's where your shadows would be. But sometimes you don't need shadows all the time, but it's nice to have shadows and lights in your paintings. It makes it a lot more professional looking. So quickly talk about values for a second, and the values are your dark, medium, and light. So your three values. And then we'll go through what we're going to do. Is we're going to start the painting now shortly, and I'm going to show you about what brushes we're going to have to use. I don't want to go through every single step. I want to actually do the painting, and then we can go through all these steps, make sure we got them down properly. But that was a little start for you. So and then I'm going to show you how to start your painting, where to start, and I'm going to show you how to make your objects more make your objects look much better. And then we're going to do our small details. We're going to get our shapes. So I'm going to show you all that in an actual painting. We'll go through the painting. We'll paint one like this, something like this, right? We can change things around. We can make things a little different. I might even take out the hills. I don't know. Let's just play with it. And I'm going to show you exactly all these steps and where to start, and hopefully at the end of this video you will be able to do your paintings much better and make it easier for you and enjoy your painting. So I upload my videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, so you can have a look out for that. I think you have to click a bell to get notifications, but every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday I will upload videos, and some of these videos are done in like lesson 1 or lesson 2 or lesson 3, so keep an eye out for them. So, and I'll put them in playlists for you and make it easier for you to find. So let's get started on this painting. So how to start this painting? First thing you want to do is look for the horizon line, so you'll know where you want to have your sky and your hills and your grass in the background, or any picture that you're looking at. Have a look depending on what you're doing. If it's still life, look where the horizon line, we call it a horizon line for where the table sits, different things like that. And so what we're going to do is we're going to the horizon line, the cabin sits on the horizon line, so I tape it off. There we go. And the next step you need to do, so all you need for this painting of the landscape that we're going to do is just some ultramarine blue if you have it, and cad yellow, cad red, sap green, and burnt umber, and white. So, and maybe a bit of black if you need it, but I'm just going to leave it off for now. And that's the colors that you normally use. Doesn't have to be exactly the same. And whatever greens you have, yellows and blues and red, because I don't want you to have to not do the painting if you don't have these exact colors. But they're the most popular colors. And titanium white is also a nice white. So like I said, we have to make sure we have the proper brushes for our painting. And for this painting, I'm going to use a flat brush for my sky. Flat, synthetic, nylon. And I have a bristle brush. These are just nice brushes, and this is a smaller flat brush. It says size 12, but I mean, different brands are different sizes, so you know, like this one here is probably a size 8 or 10. And I also have a liner brush. So I think that's all for now. We need more brushes. I will let you know. So trying to figure out how to start a painting, and we looked at our picture and we decided where the lights and darks are and all the different things that I went through, and how to start that painting. If you have a picture or whatever, look for the sky, and if you want to, you can do your sky first, and then you can tape off where your sky is going to end. That will help you keep everything in order.